Hello people, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to be sabotaging my green SG today. It's Gibson, and I'm going to be detuning it and setting it up for C# standard tuning, and we'll be putting in this pickup today and we're going to see what happens. I'm a little concerned about the neck relief and what's going to happen when we change all that string tension so severely. We'll just have to see what happens, because we're going to leave the 10 through 46 gauge strings on it. I've got a action of 2 millimeters, 1.75 millimeters, and 1.5 millimeters on the treble strings at the 12th fret. In 64ths, that's about 5 64ths and 3.5 64ths. And the neck relief, as we have it strung to E standard tuning, is a 2/1000 of an inch. That's not much at all. We're going to have to adjust the truss rod. It's actually tuned to E flat. Maybe that's why the neck is so straight. It came from the factory, tuned to standard tuning. So let's see what happens. We can predict what's going to happen, but we never know what's going to happen until it happens. Okay, so there's quite a bit of travel and tension on this. I like the way this is feeling already for the scenario that we're going to go to. Let's see what happened. Okay, so minus 12/1000 of an inch. Let's just call it 11 thou. This is actually really great for what's going to happen now. So let me tune the strings down another whole step and see where our relief is. Alright, I did a real quick detuning. Now we're in C# standard, and the relief is 10 thou, which is actually really great. Okay, so some guitars won't respond this way. Every guitar is different, the way it responds to string tension and neck bow and truss rod tension. This one still has some tension on the rod, and the strings are super slinky right now, so I'm really glad about that. I was worried we're going to have to go to heavier gauge strings, which wasn't the plan. So now that we think it's going to be okay without any major adjustments to, the truss rod or the string gauge, let's listen to see what this pickup sounds like, and then we'll switch it to the other pickup and see what it sounds like. Alright, let's change this pickup, see if we can get it sounded more sabotaging. So this is Gibson 2023 SG standard green, translucent green. It's not, you can see all the beautiful grain in the wood, which is amazing. And these strings, man, they are toast. I'm just going to leave one string on it for testing purposes, the low E. Get these rusty things out of the way. Probably can't even tell, but these strings are rusty. And I just dread getting poked by a rusty string. Especially one that has a hook in it like that. So what it is that Tony and Geezer started detuning their guitars back in the early to mid 70s for these 4 albums: Master of Reality, Volume 4, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, and Sabotage. Maybe they did it on later albums too, I'm not quite sure. This is kind of where I stopped, Anyways, and that's what we're doing with the SG. So I'm going to get all this stuff off the bench and we'll dig into the electronics. Okay, 416.25, brand new. Oh wow, this is not a regular Gibson pickup at all. This is epoxied. Wow. You remember Bill Lawrence pickups that used to go in those 70s Gibsons were all epoxied like this. They were in like the L6S and such, and Kent Armstrong in Vermont, I believe he's either in Vermont or New Hampshire, he still makes these types of things in his basement. Kent Armstrong. He also owns WD Music out of Florida. That's his company. But, you know, if this pickup ever broke and needed fixed, there's no fixing it. It's epoxied, and if the coil wires get messed up, you're done. There's a bunch of grease all over this thing. I gotta wipe my hands. I kind of like this configuration for wiring because I can, you know, get the guitar somewhat off the bench. It opens up a lot of space for the soldering station here. And if I want to flip it over, I've got the neck rest over there. I can flip it over and rest the neck on that. So I'll get down the soldering station. I keep it up here. I keep my solder. I just love to solder. Like we say in the Midwest, solder. Oh, those are beautiful. I hate to mess it up. So that pickup is wax potted and epoxied to keep it from feeding back. Give it sustain. I like to set my temperature for about 370 degrees Celsius. Let's get it warmed up. It's a really good idea to put something over the lacquer. If something bad can happen, it will happen. I've de-tacked this masking tape on my shirt so that it doesn't screw up the lacquer. Alright, that looks pretty safe. Now the bridge pickup is coming through right here, and it's going over here. The lead wire's attached to this lug of this pot. So I'm going to grab onto the wire with this, and I'm going to warm it up and pull it through. So that wasn't too bad. That's the lead 61. Told you it was a 23. Whoa, the spring shot across the room. I guess we lost that one. I don't know if I'll ever find that spring. And I wasn't even using power tools. Well, the Tony Iommi pickup comes with its own screws and springs, so we'll use those. And luckily, it's a Phillips head screw. And not that darn slotted head screws on pickups. I can't stand that. I guess it's my pet peeve. We'll make sure that the slant is going the correct way. Orient it so that this is facing towards the skinnier parts, facing towards the headstock.
Gotta wrestle with it. I go backwards at first, just make sure it doesn't cross thread. Okay.
We'll give them a test. I know he's going to ask me what his old pickup resistance is. Okay, so we got 8 kilo ohms on the original lead 61. And on the Tony Iommi, we can assume the lead wire is the red one. Okay, we got double, so 16 kilo ohms. Wow. And it's ceramic magnet with El Nico 2, I think it said. Holy cow. That is going to sound amazing. I absolutely love a ceramic magnet pickup humbucker in the bridge position for heavy metal style music. It's what I prefer. So the Iommi, oh my god, 16 kilo ohms. That's crazy. Okay, so I just got this one soldered in here, and now I'll need to get these two soldered in there, but I'll need to make sure they don't touch a lead wire in the process. Something like that, probably be okay. Now if this green and white wire were to touch ground anywhere, back of a pot, wherever, it would cut the humbucker down to a single coil. So we want to make sure that just kind of hovers up here. No, not near that. There's a ground wire right there. We don't want it to touch that. Somewhere in this area should be okay. Whoop. I'll put a little piece of heat shrink tubing over it It's got this magnetic handle where when you put it back in the base, it turns off the coil, but it keeps blowing as to cool the coil slowly. So it goes on for like 30 seconds to a minute. It runs as it cools. Just turned off. Okay, so back over here, I had all that extra wire. Look at all that extra cord, lead wire stuff, all the wiring harness. Luckily, there's enough room down in there for the pickup. That's awesome. And then we got our bridge. We got our string. And we got some screws. Now we can test this string out. One string anyways. See what, see if this pickup works. I don't know if I'm ever going to find that spring. It shot back into the corner over there behind the tool chest. Oh, this is going to have to come way up. Something like that. This fretboard looks really dry. It doesn't just need oil, it needs wax. Howard's feeding wax. Get you some today. Headstock shrinkage. It happens after 2 or 3 years. It shrinks. It shrinks. Those were Viva paper towels. They don't scratch up the lacquer like a standard absorbing paper towel does. Fresh set of XL strings. XL 110s. 10 through 46. The fretboard sure looks nicer. Gibson's back to putting fairly decent nuts on their guitars these days. I mean, it's the same material, but they're doing them by hand again instead of letting that pleck machine pleck them, slot them. Changed out so many of those Gibson Corian or Graph Tech nuts that the pleck machine slotted. They've got way too much of a severe angle to them, the top of them, and then the little grooves for the strings are just teeny tiny little shallow cuts across, and they're not angled. You know, the string slots should be angled to about the same degree pitch as the headstock, but those old plecked ones are not. Every couple weeks I get a guitar in that needs a handmade nut. So Gibson is doing a good job. But man, I'm working on this old Norland era Gibson. I'm going to show you guys. It took me like 3 hours to clean up all this synthetic PVA glue out of the neck joint. It was horrible. Here it is. It's a 1976 Gibson Dove Custom from Kalamazoo. And this white PVA glue was in here. It was about 12 trillion feet thick. And it was like having to clean like melted cheese off plates. You know, as a dishwasher when you're a kid, working in the kitchen, cleaning plates. It was like that for hours on end, trying to get this crap off of here. Nice design though, isn't it? The Dove Custom. The Dove Custom has ebony wood for the fretboard and bridge, and no sunburst. I've got another one over here. That one there is the Dove Standard. It has rosewood fretboard and bridge with cherry sunburst. But they both look the same from the back. Let me know if you guys are interested in seeing a video on this carving. It's the Jason Becker carving, and he doesn't like the pickups. He wants me to pull out the pickups and switch out the pots so that they work with these other replacement pickups. Seymour Duncan's, he brought them. Yeah, we're getting rid of the push-pull pots, so he just wants to go to a standard pot. Let me know if you're interested in seeing that. It's going to be sweet. Look at that maple fretboard with jumbo frets, mahogany neck, figured maple fretboard. Man, these are the best. and I hope to see you next week. See ya!